Here's a dirty little secret about investing, about business, about life. The simple approach usually works better than the complicated one. But smart people hate simple. They think simple means simplistic. So they add complexity to feel clever. And complexity is where things break. I've watched this play out thousands of times. Someone has a straightforward business model that works. Then they get ambitious. They add products, they enter new markets, they leverage up. They hire consultants who convince them they need sophisticated strategies, and before you know it, the whole thing collapses under its own weight. Warren and I keep it simple. We buy businesses we understand, run by people we trust at prices that make sense. That's it. No complex derivatives, no leverage, no financial engineering, just simple, boring businesses that make money year after year. And people look at us like we're dinosaurs. Charlie, don't you know about modern portfolio theory? Don't you know about hedging strategies? Sure, I know about them. I also know they don't work for us because complexity introduces more points of failure, more things that can go wrong, more opportunities for small mistakes to compound into big disasters. Here's what I wish I'd known earlier. There's no prize for difficulty. You don't get extra points for making things complicated. In fact, you get penalized. Because complex systems are fragile. They require constant monitoring, constant adjustment, and eventually something breaks that you didn't anticipate. Simple systems are robust. They're easier to understand, easier to manage, easier to fix when something goes wrong. And in the long run, robust beats clever every single time. So when you're faced with a decision and you have a simple option versus a complex one, default to simple. Don't add complexity unless it genuinely adds value, and be very skeptical of anyone who tries to make simple things sound complicated. Usually they're either confused or trying to confuse you. I've probably said no to more opportunities than I've said yes to. And that's not because I'm risk-averse or pessimistic. It's because most opportunities are bad opportunities disguised as good ones. Here's what young people don't understand. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else you could be doing with that time and money. So the question isn't, is this a good opportunity? The question is this the best possible use of my limited resources? And most of the time, the answer is no. Warren and I have missed hundreds of chances to make money, maybe thousands, and every single time we passed on something that later succeeded, people would ask, Charlie, don't you regret not investing in that? And my answer is always the same, no. Because we were also passing on 1,000 other things that failed. We just don't hear about those. The art of investing and the art of living is knowing what to ignore. There's an infinite number of things you could do, could invest in, could spend time on. Your job isn't to do everything. It's to do the few things that really matter and ignore everything else. I've made more money by sitting on my hands than by taking action. I've preserved more wealth by not losing it than by making brilliant investments. And that's because inaction is underrated. Doing nothing is a viable strategy. Sometimes it's the best strategy, but doing nothing is hard. It feels passive. It feels like you're missing out. So people do things just to feel like they're doing something. They trade stocks, they start projects, they chase trends. And most of the time they'd be better off doing nothing. Here's what I wish I'd known at your age. Saying no is a skill. Practice it. Get comfortable with it. Because the more successful you become, the more opportunities you'll have, and most of them will be distractions. Your ability to say no, to stay focused on what truly matters, will determine how far you go. And don't feel bad about saying no. You don't owe anyone an explanation. No is a complete sentence. Use it liberally. I'm 99 years old, and I'm still here, not because I have great genes, though I might, but because I've taken care of myself. Not obsessively, not to the point where it interferes with living, but consistently. Here's what I wish I'd known at your age. Your health is the only asset you can't replace. You can make more money. You can rebuild your career. You can start over in a new city. But you only get one body, one brain, and if you wreck them, you're done. I see young people today working themselves into the ground, not sleeping, eating garbage, never exercising, living on caffeine and stress, and they think they're invincible. They think they'll fix it later, but later never comes, or by the time it does, the damage is done. You don't get to be old and healthy by accident. You get there by making small, boring decisions every single day. You eat reasonably, you move your body, you get enough sleep, you manage your stress. Nothing glamorous, nothing complicated, just consistency. And here's the thing, health compounds too. The good habits you build now will pay dividends for decades. And the bad habits, they'll cost you in ways you can't imagine yet. I'm not saying you need to be a monk. I'm not saying you can't enjoy life. But I am saying you need to respect the fact that your body has limits. Push too hard for too long and something breaks. And unlike money, you can't just earn more health. So take care of yourself. Not because you're vain or obsessed with longevity, but because you want to be functional and sharp for as long as possible. Because what good is wealth if you're too sick to enjoy it? What good is success if you're miserable? At 99, I'm grateful every day that I can still think clearly, still walk, still work. That's the real wealth. That's the real success. And it started with decisions I made 50, 60, 70 years ago. People ask me if I have regrets. Of course I do. I'm 99 years old. I have plenty. But here's what I've learned about regrets. They're not evenly distributed. Most of my regrets aren't about things I did. They're about things I didn't do. Opportunities I was too cautious to take. Relationships I let slip away. Risks I should have taken, but didn't. There's a business Warren and I passed on in the early days. We thought it was too expensive. It was Walmart. If we'd bought it, we'd have made an extra $10 billion, maybe more. And that haunts me. Not because I need the money, I don't, but because I hate being wrong. But you know what? I don't regret a single friend I've kept. I don't regret a single book I've read. I don't regret staying married or staying curious or staying humble. Those weren't mistakes. Those were the best decisions I ever made. Here's what I wish I'd known at your age. You'll regret the things you don't do more than the things you do. Fear keeps us from trying things, from taking risks, from putting ourselves out there. And that fear costs us, not immediately, but over decades. You realize all the experiences you missed, all the people you didn't connect with, all the adventures you didn't take. So take the risk, ask the question, make the move. And if it doesn't work out, at least you'll know. At least you won't spend the rest of your life wondering, what if? I'm 99 years old, and I've had a good run. Better than I deserved, honestly. I've made money, sure, but more importantly, I've had great friends, good health, work I enjoyed, and a life that felt meaningful. And none of that came from being a genius. It came from following a few simple principles and sticking with them, even when they weren't fashionable. Here's what I hope you take from this. Be patient. Learn constantly. Admit your mistakes. Live below your means. Choose your people carefully. Do work that matters. Keep it simple. Say no often. Take care of your health. And don't wait to live the life you want, because time is the only thing you can't get more of. And at your age, you still have plenty of it. Don't waste it. Don't spend it on things that don't matter. Don't chase empty achievements or hollow success. Figure out what enough looks like for you, and then build a life around that. Not more, not less, just enough. And remember, the goal isn't to die rich. The goal is to live well, to go to bed each night knowing you spent your day on things that mattered, to look back at 80 or 90 or 99 and think, yeah, I did it right. I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes, but I've also lived by principles that served me well. And if sharing them saves even one person from making the same mistakes I made, then this was worth it. So go, be patient, be rational, be kind, and build something that lasts. That's what I wish I'd known at your age.